This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace.
Last year, I went through many different life changes. I needed to take a pause and examine how I was feeling in the inside to better show up for the ones who need me to be my best version of myself.
When you're navigating life's changes, Talkspace can help. Talkspace is the #1 rated online therapy, bringing you professional support from licensed therapists and psychiatry providers that you can access anytime, anywhere.
Living a busy life, navigating a long-distance relationship, becoming a first-step father, Talkspace made all of those journeys possible. I could speak with my therapist in the office. I could speak with my therapist in the comfort of my home. I was never alone.
Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance, no problem. Now get $80 off your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
After the holidays, there's so much to clean up and get ready for the coming year. This leaves me exhausted and a lot of things falling off my to-do list. It's time to lock in, and Omaha Steaks delivers everything you crave to reset after the holidays. An order from them means having high-quality Omaha Steaks on hand at all times. I'm a big meat lover myself, and I always go with medium rare. But there's also plenty of poultry and other options available. Omaha Steaks offers unrivaled quality and variety, and every bite is backed by their 100% guarantee. A family-owned company with over 100 years of expertise in the meat industry. Let Omaha Steaks deliver high-quality proteins right to your door. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide during their end-of-season sale. And for an extra $35 off, use promo code YUM at checkout. That's OMAHA steaks.com, promo code YUM. Terms apply. See site for details. Go to www.omahasteaks.com to get 50% off site-wide during their end-of-season sale. And use promo code YUM at checkout for an extra $35 off. Minimum purchase may apply. Thanks to Omaha Steaks for sponsoring us.
You're listening to the Prescription for Purpose podcast, a mental health podcast for Christian women who are breaking free and recovering from living life in survival mode. Each week, you'll receive biblical and evidence-based insight and strategies to help you break the cycle of living life on autopilot. So if you're ready to build a life that doesn't exhaust you, friend, this is the place to start learning how. Recovery isn't always pretty, but it is possible. Hey, friend, and welcome back to another episode of the Prescription for Purpose podcast. You hear my voice? I am getting over a sinus infection. It is Saturday morning, like 2:45 in the morning. I've been working a lot. I'm doing some adjusting. And I have been honestly, like if I can keep it $150 with y'all, dealing with circumstances that you may not even be able to comprehend all at once, because I can't even comprehend it, that I'm not even able to fully release and speak to y'all yet right now about, okay? Bear with me, because I really believe that this episode is for people like me and you who are going through and you are really at your wit's end. You are tired of every year being like, okay, this year I'm going to figure it out. This year I'm going to get it together. You have planned, overplanned, replanned, diverted, reverted, and somehow at the end of the year, you're like, I did a bunch of stuff. I'm not sure why I don't feel as if my life is different. As I have shared with y'all at the top of the year, we are pivoting into this place where we are coming out of survival mode and we are walking into a life of recovery. Recovery is not an easy task. It sounds way more aspirational. Everybody's on their healing journey. Ain't nobody leaving notes on how ghetto it gets. Because whenever you are making decisions that go against your default mode, there is a lot of times where it looks like there is opposition on all sides. The enemy is going to try to leverage your biology against you because you are breaking free from strongholds, breaking free from patterns, breaking free from mindsets that no longer serve you definitely ain't serving the Lord, and it's going to call you to stop inadvertently serving the enemy. And that sounds so powerful and rah, rah, rah until it's a Tuesday afternoon. And this past Tuesday afternoon, me and the Lord had to have a real conversation because I know that in this season, with everything that I'm dealing with, I know that I'm listening to the Lord. He keeps showing himself and revealing himself to me. I know that every hard decision I've made, baby, since last June and even before then, has led up to this. And as the Lord is pulling me through all of these different scenarios, and I can see the horizon, it almost feels as if like I can't touch it. Like it's a mirage. And I had to go talk to my father on a prayer walk on Tuesday. And I want to share something with you that he said to me that at first annoyed me. I'm not going to hold you, but then encouraged me. The Lord said to me as I sought him about this doesn't look this. What do I need to do? What is going on? He said, Sharla, this is the time where you decide if you are going to seek relief or if you're going to have strategic resolve. Are you going to try to circumvent what I'm doing so you can have relief, or are you going to commit to strategic resolve? You are trying to get relief from things that I'm trying to bring to a resolution. Friend, hear me good. How many times have we brought ourselves back into a place and a space where we don't belong because we have been seeking relief instead of allowing God to be our refuge, him being our protector, while we wait on him to bring these things to a permanent resolution? I'm going to help you in the little bit of time that I have that is mine and the little bit of voice capacity that I have. Let me give you the definition of relief. I did a lot of digging, a lot of studying. Our working definition of relief is the reduction, removal, substitution, diversion of discomfort, pressure, or distress that soothes the immediate experience by shifting your sensation or attention without engaging the underlying cause or submitting to counsel. Anything that reduces, removes, substitutes, diverts discomfort, pressure, or distress while shifting your sensation, how you feel, and your attention without engaging with the actual problem, that's bringing relief. Things like scrolling, emotional eating, fornicating, these are things that we do to relieve sensations, irritability, overwhelm, emotion. Instead of processing those things appropriately, we oftentimes have relief-seeking behavior. Sometimes the relief-seeking behavior is not something sinful. Mary and Martha. So we're doing things, even if you believe that you are doing them for the Lord. Maybe God want me to go ahead and apply for da-da-da-da-da-da. No. He didn't tell you to do that. We're trying to put our hands to something because we are looking for the reduction, the removal, the substitution, or the diversion of our discomfort, the diversion of pressure, the diversion of our distress. We are trying to put action to something that we really need to bring emotional processing and honesty and transparency and vulnerability to the Lord about. Meanwhile, the Lord is trying to bring us to learn how to seek strategic resolution. A resolution is the process of working through a problem by separating its true components and reaching a firm decision that changes direction and structure through engagement with the underlying cause. While you're submitted and you have wise counsel. So when we talk about relief seeking relief is about the immediate emotional reduction. How do I make this stop? I got to get out of here. Instead of a strategic resolve being the engagement and directional change. You see how the cycle gets broken? Directional change. The real question that you need to ask, what needs to be dealt with? What needs to be dealt with? When we are doing these relief-seeking behaviors, we are trying to deal with a threat response. Instead of us operating in agency and in freedom, we don't allow our nervous system the time to learn how to tolerate discomfort. We have very low distress tolerance, so we can discern and then choose the appropriate action. We treat discomfort as a problem to eliminate instead of treating discomfort as information. Asking the Lord, why is this making me so uncomfortable? And when I asked him, he said, it's because you're looking for relief instead of resolution. I didn't even know that in my inquiry of him on this walk, because I went to fuss, okay? And when I first got the word, I was annoyed. And then as he revealed it, I thanked him for it and was like, okay, that makes sense. He's changing the way that I think so things can start being in alignment, being harmonious, so there can actually be a change in the trajectory and momentum. When you are relief seeking, you're being reactive. Your decisions are made so you can reduce the level of anxiety. You can reduce the level of fear instead of when you are being resolute, when you're trying to bring something to a conclusion, you are trying to make decisions that produce alignment and harmony. Relief seeking is all about you regaining control, whereas resolution is going to require surrender of the outcomes and you just being obedient. We're only oftentimes looking for God to hand out relief when really we need to allow God to be a leader and to follow his leadership. This is why we're starting this series on trust and leadership here. How to build trust. I know you think you trust God, you don't. I wasn't. Trust is not this abstract feeling. There's a process to it. And over the next couple of weeks, as we go through this series, I'm going to teach it to you, but we have to start here. You have to decide if you're going to continue to try to seek relief or if we are going to start getting some resolution to some of these things that we have been dealing with. Because what ends up happening when you just keep relief seeking, this is how cycles form. Versus when you are bringing things to an end, right? The Bible talks about how God is faithful to complete what he started. There's a new level of stability, discernment, capacity, instead of you dealing with the same issue over and over. That's why every job you go to, it's the same situation happening over and over because you quit the last job, friend, looking for relief instead of getting to the end, instead of getting the solution. Relief seeking leads to cyclical living because that emotional discomfort does not change the condition. It's not changing anything. We're putting lipstick on a pig and wanting it to be your man. It's not. It's bacon. Kill it and fry it so you can stop being hungry. That was a wild analogy. That was wild. That was a wild analogy, y'all. I'm leaving it in. I don't care. But for real, like, we have to stop putting these Band-Aids on bullet wounds. Cyclical living develops when somebody continues to treat symptoms like the root cause. So you want to soothe your anxiety and your exhaustion and your frustration, and those things are good to do. However, the way in which you do it isn't by you going out and shopping. You want to address your anxiety, but you don't want to deal with your beliefs. You want to address your exhaustion, but you don't want to address your boundaries. You want to not be frustrated, but you don't want to take a strategic look at the decisions that you make because it's uncomfortable. And so we pacify these things and it just shows up again in a new package. So you're in a different job, but you burnt out still. In a different relationship, but it's the same dynamic. It's a different season, but you are in the same frustrating pattern. Relief seeking trains your brain to associate discomfort with escape instead of evaluation. You have to understand, if I'm uncomfortable, I need to get checked out. Just like these kids be coming in the clinic with their parents. Something is the matter, I need to get checked out. Instead of asking, how do I make this stop? We have to start asking, why does this keep happening? And when we skip that part, we aren't able to reflect. We're not able to take pattern recognition into account. We're not able to take responsibility. All of those things are needed for us to break cycles. But when we decide to have a strategic resolve, it breaks cycles because it addresses the very thing that keeps producing the problem. Not just the emotional response to the problem, but the actual problem itself. Imagine if you had, I don't know, some kind of infestation in your house, okay? And you kept killing the bugs, but you never took out the trash that has all the bugs in it. You're going to be exhausted. You'll be tired of seeing bugs, this is that, and the third, because you're not dealing with the core issue. The trash still in the house. Cycles only can exist when the same inputs keep creating the same outputs. So if we keep doing relief seeking, we never change the input. You think that you're changing the input, but it's the same input, girl, with a different wig on. The only thing that happens when you dress up what you're doing is that the output feels more tolerable. But I'm done living a life that I tolerate. And you are too. I'm done living a life that I tolerate. I'm going to live a life that is full. Sure, there'll be trial and tribulation. Okay, my Bible says there will be trial and tribulation, but it don't say that I have to tolerate my life. So if I'm at a place where I feel like I'm just tolerating things, that's a problem. That's a problem. I need you to understand that when you approach your circumstances from a position of strategic resolve, it puts you in a place where you're not just managing your emotions, but you're also stewarding your direction. Instead of organizing your life around trying to feel better, friend, your life has to be organized around what is in alignment. What is going to bring wholeness, peace. That's what that word peace means in the Greek, to be whole, to be in alignment with your values, with your desires, where God is calling you. How are you making decisions that pull you into that? I want you to know that when you start doing it, it's hella uncomfortable. Okay, I'm ready to pull. I'm not going to pull my hair out because I need my hair. I'm ready to bite my fingernails off. It's very uncomfortable. But can you sit in the uncertainty? Can you allow the Lord to bring resolve to things and not be ready to forfeit the progress and forfeit the trajectory? And I'm not being dramatic. You want a good case study? Go on over to 1 Samuel 13. The story of Saul was about him not being able to have a strategic resolve. He had got the instruction. When we see Saul in 1 Samuel 13. He's been king for 2 years. He's in this military crisis. He's at Gilgal. They're in a war with the Philistine army. Soldiers are as many numerous as the sand on the seashore, and the Israelite soldiers are paralyzed by fear. They're hiding. And the people that are with Saul, they are oppressed. And he was given instructions by the prophet Samuel to wait 7 days at Gilgal. And then Samuel was going to come back, give a burnt offering to the Lord before the battle began. But on the 7th day, Saul decided he was tired of waiting on Samuel. His people, they were stressed out. They started to desert him. And he was under so much pressure. He felt the enemy coming in. He felt like his resources were dwindling. And so what did he decide to do? Instead of waiting for Samuel to come, he took matters into his own hands and he did that burnt sacrifice offering himself, something that looks like it is of the Lord, something that looks spiritual. However, he violated the boundaries of his office as king. That was for priests to do. And just as the sacrifice was completed, guess what happened? The resolution came. Samuel asked Saul, "What have you done?" And so then Saul explained himself. He's like, the people were scattering, the Philistines was coming. He said he felt compelled to do something. He prioritized immediate relief of his anxiety over the action of resolving, which the only action was for him to wait. Was for him to wait, friend. Wait on the Lord to send his prophet. Wait, I will come back and I will do the offering. And because he chose the shortcut of relief, Samuel had to let him know that his kingdom would not endure. God said that he was going to establish Saul's kingdom forever, and he forfeited that because he did not remain under the authority of God's word in an attempt of him relief seeking. So how do we move from simply relief seeking to operating in a place where we are looking to God for a strategic resolve? I have 5 steps for y'all. And before I give them to you, I need you really to hear what I'm saying. This may not be the most perfect put together episode, but I'm telling you, you need to sit with this. The Lord is doing something in this season in our lives individually and in the body collectively. Wars, rumors of war. Y'all see the shenanigans that's happening. We have to learn how to have a level of resolve, to be strong and courageous. This is where that stuff comes into actual practicality. That even right now for me, I have 2 or 3 very major areas of my life where stuff is up in the air. It's up and it's stuck because I had to give it to the Lord, okay? I'm so uncomfortable. I mean, and to the brink of tears. And I have to wait for the Lord. We will never learn how to trust God if there is no risk involved. Risk all by itself, again, is not a threat. Discomfort is not a threat. If there was no risk, there would require no trust, and there would be no need for leadership. Do you hear what I'm saying? I'm doing some risky stuff right now. And I'm having to learn that risk and discomfort are not threats. I had to take both to the Lord. But if there is no risk, then I don't need leadership. There's always going to be a level of vulnerability when I trust in the Lord with all my heart.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace.
Last year, I went through many different life changes. I needed to take a pause and examine how I was feeling in the inside to better show up for the ones who need me to be my best version of myself.
When you're navigating life's changes, Talkspace can help. Talkspace is the #1 rated online therapy, bringing you professional support from licensed therapists and psychiatry providers that you can access anytime, anywhere.
Living a busy life, navigating a long-distance relationship, becoming a first-step father, Talkspace made all of those journeys possible. I could speak with my therapist in the office. I could speak with my therapist in the comfort of my home. I was never alone.
Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay, no insurance, no problem. Now get $80 off your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
So this is why you have to have a strategic resolve. If you don't have this set in your mind this way, you are not going to ever be able to feel and practice trusting God. We're going to say to ourselves, oh, I'm just trusting God, when really you're doing a bunch of relief-seeking strategy. Then when it doesn't work out, you're mad at the Lord. I have been there. I'm not telling y'all nothing that I ain't dealt with. I just don't want y'all dealing with it no more. We're done doing stuff and then blaming God because we didn't lit the sacrifice and that wasn't our job. So this is how you move from relief seeking to strategic resolve. The first thing you have to do is you have to identify what is driving the urgency. When you feel pressure, the first thing that you need to do is to identify why you feel like you need to decide anything right now. Because urgency is typically a sign that there is some kind of threat, not a divine direction. God is kind. He is gentle. He is a shepherd. He does not coerce us into doing things. So the threat might be a fear of loss, fear of instability, fear of disappointing others, fear of falling behind, fear that things will deteriorate. Those fears, you take them back to the Lord, but they don't get to make the decision for you. Because if you don't identify what it is, then urgency becomes the thing that is the authority of your life. And so you're going to automatically reach for whatever action is going to reduce that kind of pressure. That's relief seeking. Right now, I am working through a situation at work. And in the midst of all of this, I had a job interview last week. And it sounded okay, but I had enough discernment that the minute they started talking to me, I said, oh no, that goes against my values. They wanted to lock me into a 2-year contract. And if I broke the contract, it was $25,000. And they wanted me to only work at that organization, and I couldn't teach. Because that's not a resolution to what I'm dealing with. It might feel like a relief because I could circumvent this process that I'm dealing with. However, that would not be wise. That also goes against my values of freedom, goes against me wanting to continue to teach in nursing school. And so I sent the email and told them I'm not coming back for a second interview. I'm okay. I'm not looking for relief seeking. I'm tired of doing that. I need to resolve this matter. And sometimes that requires waiting on process. Strategic resolve slows the process enough for you to locate the source of urgency. You have to be able to tell yourself what's happening and what you believe is at stake. And then once you can write that story out to yourself, now you can evaluate it instead of obeying the urge. So ask yourself, what is feeling urgent? What do I believe will happen if I don't do nothing? What outcome am I trying to prevent? Is the urgency from fear? Is it from pressure? What is it? The second thing you have to do is separate feeling responsible versus knowing what you're assigned to do. Pressure creates a false sense of ownership. When things feel unstable, you begin to feel personally responsible for stabilizing them. We are in control and responsible for our obedience, not nothing else. So while I wanted to wait to record this podcast because I wanted to feel better, etc., the Lord said, Sharla, record it. It don't have to be perfect. It don't have to be polished. I need you to do what I asked you to do and record it. The outcome of this, I have no idea. But what I do know is that God knows I did my assignment. There is this emotional sense of responsibility that we often take on, especially women who are recovering from survival mode. We can be hyper responsible because a lot of times that feeling of responsibility, we were placed in that position. A lot of us as children, we were parentified. And now it's turned into this self-appointed authority. Like Saul felt responsible for the people scattering, but that did not turn him from king into a priest. And only priests can do a sacrifice. So that still wasn't your assignment. Internal pressure does not change a divine assignment. So building strategic resolve, it requires you to clarify what you're actually in charge of instead of what you've taken on because you're uncomfortable. You can care deeply about a situation without being responsible for fixing it. I love kids real bad. Real bad. Y'all do not understand how angry and frustrated I am with a lot of these recommendations that do not have the best interest of these children at heart. I did not get into medicine to harm kids, and it's a big deal for me. Like, I get really angry thinking about it and the fact that we're here. And I say all that to say, it's not my responsibility to fix it. I see it. I'm going to keep doing what the Lord has called me to do. So when parents bring their kids into clinic, I'm educating, I'm providing insight, being respectful, but I'm doing what I can in my assigned role, but I'm not marching on Washington. That's not what the Lord called me to do. It's not my responsibility to fix it. I care deeply. You may have influence without having authority. But if you overfunction and then try to perpetrate it as you being faithful, don't get mad at the Lord when the outcome isn't given what it's supposed to, because he didn't tell you to do that. A lot of times, if you are overextending yourself, overfunctioning, it's because you're doing things that you have not been assigned to do. You're out of alignment. You're out of order. So how do you avoid this? Ask yourself, what do I feel responsible for in this situation? What has God clearly assigned to me? What am I trying to control that belongs to someone else and or that belongs to the Lord? Where might I be operating outside of my lane? I'd say this jokingly, but I'll say it again after this conversation with the Lord about relief and resolve. I'm learning how to stay in a child's place. Number 3, you have to prioritize alignment over emotion. You know Your emotions matter. Your emotions are signals to what is going on inside of you. The Lord uses them as a mirror to point to things. How do we know? When Cain was mad, God said, "Why are you angry?" He didn't say, "Oh, you need to do." He said, "Why are you angry?" Now, did Cain take the time to reflect? No. He didn't. He broke the mirror and killed his brother, okay? Like, he was not trying to hear it. But for us, we have to prioritize being in alignment with the Lord over just trying to get quick emotional relief. We have to honor God's order. The choice that keeps you aligned may increase your discomfort in the short term. I am very uncomfortable right now. It's taking a lot of cognitive, mental, emotional, spiritual resource that I quite honestly don't even feel like I got it. But His grace is sufficient to maintain what I'm maintaining. I ain't got much left in me, Lord. Help. Okay? That's where I was when we started this conversation. Understand that oftentimes the right choice, the choice that God is calling you to make, there is going to be emotional distress attached in the beginning. Remember, when we talk about Joshua, the first thing God said, "Moses, my servant, is dead." There's discomfort there. He's mourning, he's grieving. But come on, get up. Let's go. Be strong and courageous. I'm going to be with you. Be strong and courageous. Because courage literally means to be committed, to have the strategic resolve. When you study it in the Hebrew, it is a strategic resolve. I'm committed no matter what to this direction. I am being courageous. Make sure that you're in alignment more than you are looking for immediate comfort. Once you start evaluating your choices based on whether or not it's in alignment with God's instruction for your life, in alignment with the values that you've set before the Lord, then you will start to feel a sense of relief. I'm telling you what I know. Right now, while this stuff is in limbo, while I'm waiting on meetings and waiting on this and that and the third, the fact that I'm like, hey, that discomfort that I was feeling, the emotions that I'm feeling, I'm learning that when I feel like that in any situation, relationally, career-wise, whatever, it is a signal that something that may have worked before is no longer sustainable, and I need to at least investigate it. It's worth taking a look at. Sometimes it could be a slight adjustment. Sometimes it may need to be a bigger adjustment, but understanding that that discomfort, instead of me trying to ignore it, override it, some of us do, or try to pacify it, it needs to be sat with and brought before the Lord. None of this would have happened without us having that fast at the beginning of the year. So if you are working through prioritizing alignment over emotional relief, ask yourself, what option would make me feel better the fastest? What options keep me aligned with God? If comfort were not a factor, what would I pick? Am I trying to reduce anxiety or stay obedient? Number 4, make a concrete, aligned decision. We have to do something with the insight. So what did I decide to do with the insight that God gave me about relief versus resolve? I decided to tell that other job I wasn't coming back for a second interview. I want y'all to know that is growth for me. I think I've on this podcast talked about how God told me I could not have this teaching position one time. And I interviewed and I did everything except tell them that I couldn't take the job. And then I had to go back because I got convicted. I was trying to swing it and I was going to make it work. Even in me declining the second interview, it was growth for me because I'm not even going to spend my time doing that. The decision's already made that this is not in alignment with my life, and so it's not worth me doing. A strategic resolve always moves you toward a specific decision. So I sent that email. God bless. Thank you for the opportunity. However, me pouring back into the profession of nursing and into my students is a personal and professional value of mine. Therefore, this is not a good fit. I made the decision and that was it. The decision should always directly address the root issue. So the fact that this opportunity that fell into my lap was not in alignment with my own beliefs and values. If you are not clear about your values and your intentions, you're going to stay stuck in a cycle. You don't even know what you want, friend, because all you are thinking about is relief. It takes time to really even come up with a strategic plan of what it is that you want and what you value and all of that. And we don't make enough room for that. And that's why we end up in cycles. Clear decisions disrupt cycles. The goal is not for you to blow up your whole life, even though sometimes it be like that real bad. The goal is for targeted strategic movement. I still am dealing with the situation in my current position. I still have 4 or 5 other things that I'm just like, okay, Lord, help me. But that piece, me seeking employment with that company, I put a pin in it. Done. No, thank you. Appreciate it. Be blessed. Just a targeted movement. A decision that brought me more closely aligned with what I believe and who I am and who God has called me to be. So, when it comes to decision making, here are some things for you to reflect on. What specific behavior needs to change? Be specific. Don't self-degrade. Just be objective and ask the Lord what to show you. Sharla, you have to stop seeking relief and you have to make decisions. Don't take that second interview. You know it's not in alignment with what you want. Who cares what questions they ask? And we don't care. It's not worth your time. Narrow road living. What boundary needs to be set or honored? The boundary for me that I had to honor was that I was not going to waste my time or their time interviewing for something I know I don't want to do, which is leave my teaching job. What conversations need to happen? I needed to send an email. I did. What's one concrete action that I could take this week that reflects alignment? I did it. I sent the email, told them thank you. That was it. And then the final way that you move from relief seeking into strategic resolution is to expect discomfort and do not interpret that as failure. When you stop relief seeking, you are not going to have your normal emotional regulator. Discomfort is going to first increase before it decreases. Okay? If you're not careful, you're going to think that you're not doing the right thing. But really, the reason you're feeling so much discomfort, friend, is because you've stopped numbing yourself, you stopped controlling everything, and you've stopped avoiding things that are difficult. So there's going to be a level of distress and discomfort. If you're super distressed, I need you to call 988, dial 988, work with a therapist. I'm not saying that you have to do these things solo, but understand that discomfort is going to happen first. It is going to increase real bad. I wish you could see me blinking my eyes. I'm blinking twice. I need help, okay? The discomfort is high. Strategic resolve includes deciding in advance that discomfort is not evidence. It is a sign You have to commit to God being your refuge. I'm going to stay here no matter how close the troops get. I'm not going to be like Saul. I'm not about to be outside of what God has called me to do. So you have to ask yourself, what discomfort am I experiencing? Am I interpreting discomfort as danger, or is it part of growth? What would it look like to stay aligned even if this feels worse for a while? And then finally, what am I tempted to do right now to escape this feeling? Because now we know and can identify that relief-seeking behavior. So, identify what's driving the urgency. Separate feeling responsible from what's assigned. Prioritize alignment over emotional relief. Make a concrete, aligned decision. Expect discomfort, but do not interpret that as failure. In order for us to even get to the series about building trust, we had to talk about relief versus resolution, because this is how the cycle gets broken. You don't need to trust God's leadership if there is no risk, because if there's no risk, why do you need to be led? This is risky business. There's going to be a cost, friend, but we know that through Christ we have the victory. I can't wait to be on the other side of these testimonies that I know are coming. I feel it. I can't wait to be able to share insight and wisdom just with all these situations. But please keep me lifted in prayer, okay? My sinuses, my mind, my heart, and my hands, child, that they stay to the plow and what God is calling me to do. I pray that this episode blessed y'all. Let me know, okay? Also, it's 3:30 in the morning, y'all. If I'm rambling and stuff, I'm sorry. Y'all know I got ADHD a little bit. A lot, actually. I got it. But I just wanted to get this word out as the Lord called me to. I would love for you to rate the show. Make sure you do your survival mode assessment. I have some amazing things coming down the pipeline for y'all, some insight that I want to gather from y'all. I really am being strategic in what the Lord is calling me to do. If you listened to this far, I'm going to go ahead and let y'all know I'm thinking about closing the app. That's something like y'all don't even understand the way the Lord is on my head about making sure I'm in alignment. And so I have not made a solid decision, but right now I'm not seeking relief by doing anything. I'm waiting on the Lord to tell me, because I want to make sure that I'm redistributing my assets appropriately, that I'm doing what God wants me to do, and that the work that's getting done is actually serving y'all. It's a lot, girl. But in the end, God will be glorified, and we're going to live lives that are abundant. So I pray that this blessed you, sis. I'm about to go lay down and get ready for these kids this afternoon. I pray that you have an amazing rest of your Saturday, because this is coming out on Saturday. And girl, I will see you back prayerfully on Wednesday, if my throat and my voice will tolerate. But I love you, friend. God bless you. And I'll talk to you next time.